Captain Zorvax, we have a problem. The bridge of the Zerithian warship Doomcaster fell silent. The crew, a collection of armored insectoid warriors, turned their multifaceted eyes toward their captain, who was currently attempting to digest a report that made no logical sense. Lieutenant Sivak, Zorvax clicked his mandibles in frustration. Please clarify how a backwater species with primitive combustion engines has just obliterated an entire Zarkonian battle fleet. Sivak gulped, his exoskeleton rattling. We don't know, Captain, but the planet designated as Earth. It's terrifying. Zorvax narrowed his compound eyes. Terrifying. The same Earth with beings that only discovered electricity a few centuries ago? The same Earth, whose most advanced weaponry still relies on chemicals to function? Yes, Captain. A tense silence spread through the bridge. How exactly did they achieve this? Impossible feat? Sivak hesitated. Well, sir, they just threw things. Threw things? Yes. At first we assumed it was a tactical error, but they just kept throwing things. Rocks, metal rods, even vehicles. They hurled an entire space station at the Zarkonians, sir. And they were laughing. Zorvax's claws twitched. Laughing? Yes, sir. Cackling like lunatics. They kept shouting something about yeet before launching their weapons. Zorvax massaged his antennae. So let me get this straight. The humans, a species with no known psionic abilities, no energy weapons, and no intergalactic fleet, just threw stuff at the most feared warriors in the galaxy? Sivak nodded. Correct, sir. And, the Zarkonians fled immediately. Cowards, Zorvax spat. Where are these humans now? A new voice chimed in. They're here, sir. They sent a message. Zorvax turned toward the communications officer who played the transmission. A static-filled screen flickered to life, revealing a human with unkempt hair, wearing a t-shirt with the words NASA across the front. He was holding a burrito. Yo, what's up, space bugs? So, like, my buddy Kyle accidentally sent a satellite straight through one of your battleships. Totally an accident, my dude. But then you guys started shooting at us, so... yeah. Anyway, no hard feelings, right? Zorvax blinked. They destroyed a fleet by accident. The human took another bite of his burrito. By the way, your ships make great target practice. We've got this thing called baseball. The screen cut out. Silence. Zorvax turned to his crew. We are never invading Earth, Zorvax's. Mandibles clicked as he processed the sheer insanity of what had just transpired. Lieutenant Sivak, he said slowly. Do we have any intelligence reports on these humans? Sivak, who had begun trembling slightly, pulled up a data tablet. Sir, it's complicated. Complicated? How so? Sivak hesitated. Well, we've intercepted their historical records, but they're bizarre. Half of their documented wars make no sense, and the other half appear to be reenacted for entertainment. Zorvax's eye ridges twitched. Reenacted? Yes, sir. They create moving picture simulations where they repeatedly depict their own species being attacked by extraterrestrials and winning. A murmur rippled through the bridge. Preposterous, Zorvax scoffed. They simulate war for fun? Gets worse, sir. According to their records, they have an entire sport dedicated to a concept they call mixed martial arts, where they willingly fight each other for recreation, with no weapons. No weapons? Correct, sir. They engage in hand-to-hand combat until one of them is incapacitated. For sport. The murmuring grew louder. A junior officer whispered, They fight for fun? And there's more, Sivak continued grimly. We tried deciphering their science and strategy texts, but they're interwoven with bizarre riddles and sarcasm, making them nearly unreadable. They communicate in layers of irony so dense that our translators short-circuited trying to interpret their memes. Zorvax's claws clenched. Memes? Yes, sir. They appear to be cryptic, self-referential humor weapons designed to spread chaos. They are capable of rallying their entire species behind incomprehensible slogans like, We ride at dawn, and Florida man strikes again. The bridge fell silent once more. Then another ping from the comms console. Incoming. Transmission, Captain, the officer croaked. Put it through. The screen flickered back to life. This time, the human on the other end was wearing sunglasses and drinking something from a can labeled Mountain Dew, code red. Hey, space dudes, just checking in. Quick question. Hypothetically speaking, if we were to launch a couch into space, at Mach 7, would that, mess up your orbital defenses? Asking for a friend. Zorvax paled. They're weaponizing furniture now? The human laughed. Oh, don't worry, we're just messing around. Anyway, gotta go. Todd's trying to duct tape a jet engine to his minivan, and I need to record it. Peace. The screen. Cut out. Zorvax turned to his crew, his mandibles clicking with dread. We must update the Galactic Council immediately. Under no circumstances should any species provoke these humans. Zorvax paced the bridge, his mind racing. This was worse than he had feared. The humans weren't just dangerous. They were unpredictable. Lieutenant Zivak, we need more data. Are they a unified force? Do they have a ruling body? Zivak hesitated. Sir, that's another problem. They do have governing structures, but they're fragmented. They seem to argue with themselves constantly. They even have entire events called elections, where they willingly change leadership every few years, often just to spite each other. Zorvax's mandibles clicked. You mean their leadership is unstable by design? Yes, sir. And they appear to take great pride in it. It seems they consider chaos a form of entertainment. A deep, uneasy silence settled over the bridge. Just then, another alert flashed. Across the main screen, urgent Galactic Council transmission. The holographic projector flickered to life, revealing the image of High Chancellor Zorvax, leader of the Galactic Council. His multiple eyes darted around nervously. Captain Zorvax, we have reviewed your preliminary report. Do you truly believe the humans pose such a threat? Zorvax straightened. With all due respect, High Chancellor, we must act carefully. They lack traditional war fleets, but their tactics are— Sir, Zivak interrupted, his voice shaky. We have new intel. Speak. Zivak swallowed hard. Sir, they have a secret weapon. It's called Florida. Zorvax narrowed his eyes. What is a Florida? Zivak's hands trembled as he brought up a data report. We don't fully understand it, but it appears to be a concentrated anomaly of human absurdity. Our probes intercepted reports of inhabitants wrestling prehistoric reptiles for fun, launching fireworks from their mouths, and consuming food that is 90% grease and still surviving well beyond their expected lifespans. Zorvax turned back. To the High Chancellor. Sir, he said gravely, I recommend we classify Earth as an exclusion zone. No species should engage them, ever. Before the Chancellor could respond, the comms officer gasped. Sir. Incoming transmission from Earth. They're broadcasting live footage to the entire galactic network. The screen lit up. A human stood there, grinning, holding what appeared to be a lit explosive in one hand and a beverage in the other. The text overlay read, Hold my beer, watch this. Zorvax's mandibles dropped open in horror. They announced their reckless actions before performing them. The High Chancellor's many eyes widened. Captain Zorvax, I am issuing an immediate directive. No species is to approach Earth. We will negotiate peace at all costs. The humans are far too dangerous. A moment later, another message flashed across the screen. New galactic alert. Earth has been declared a level 10 warfare zone. All species advised to avoid contact. Zorvax sighed in relief. And then, the humans sent another transmission. It was a simple 3-word message. First rounds on us. Zorvax turned to Zivak. What does this mean? Zivak shuddered. I think, sir. I think they're inviting us for drinks. The bridge was silent. Then Zorvax whispered the unthinkable. We're doomed. Zorvax stared at the screen in disbelief. The humans, these chaotic, fearless creatures, were inviting the entire Galactic community for drinks, Lieutenant Shivak, he said slowly. Analyze this message further. What could it mean? Is it a challenge? A threat? Shivak gulped. Sir, based on human cultural data, this phrase suggests hospitality. They appear to be offering an intergalactic gathering involving intoxicating beverages. Intoxicating beverages? Zorvax's mandibles twitched. You mean they are attempting diplomacy through chemical warfare? Possibly, sir. But there's another concern. Shivak hesitated. We intercepted a transmission discussing something called a tequila challenge. It appears to be a test of endurance. Humans consume an extremely potent liquid, then willingly suffer its effects. Some even claim to see the gods afterward. Zorvax turned back to the Galactic Council hologram. Eye. Chancellor was trembling. Captain Zorvax, we must tread carefully. If we refuse their offer, they may consider it an insult. If we accept, we may never recover. Suddenly, the communications officer gasped. Sir, another incoming transmission from Earth. They're escalating. The screen flickered, showing another human. This one wore strange eye coverings and a brightly colored outfit. He held a massive sign that read, Intergalactic Keg Stand Championship. Earth versus the universe, all are welcome. The bridge fell into stunned silence. Sir, Shivak whispered, I think they're challenging us to a contest of alcohol-based survival. Zorvax's claws flexed anxiously. What happens if they win? Unknown, sir, Shivak swallowed. But if we win, we may still lose. The High Chancellor's voice quivered. Captain Zorvax, I am issuing a universal emergency decree. No species is to accept this challenge. The humans are clearly operating on a level of endurance we cannot comprehend. Agreed. Zorvax nodded. Inform all fleets to hold position at the edge of the Sol system. No one is to enter Earth's orbit under any circumstances. But before the order could be relayed, a new message flashed across the screen. Earth invites you to the after-party. Free tacos. Zorvax felt his exoskeleton grow cold. By the void, they're relentless. The High Chancellor, now visibly shaken, muttered to himself. No wonder they've survived their own planet for so long. The screen blinked again. Humanity, the party species of the galaxy. Zorvax turned to Shivak. Lieutenant, prepare for the worst. We may not survive this diplomacy attempt. The bridge was silent. Then softly, the comms officer whispered, Sir, what if we accept? A long pause, and then Zorvax took a deep breath. Bring me a drink. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to stop a photon in its tracks. Every officer, every diplomat, every high-ranking galactic leader now stared at Captain Zorvax, their appendages twitching with unease. Sir, Shivak croaked, you're accepting the humans' invitation? Zorvax straightened his uniform, his mandibles clicking in what could only be described as resignation. If they are truly the most feared species in the galaxy, then we must understand them. And if that means partying, he swallowed hard, then so be it. The High Chancellor, usually composed and calculating, was gripping the edges of his console with something akin to terror. Captain, I must remind you, no known species has ever outlasted humans in any test of endurance. Ever. Even the Shkathul warlords collapsed after just one human drinking game. Zorvax nodded. Yes, the Shkathul are battle-hardened. Warriors who conquered 3 solar systems in a single cycle. And yet, one night with the humans and they declared Earth a land of nightmares and fermented doom. And let's not forget the Maxor Empire, Shivak added, his voice barely a whisper. They tried to subjugate Earth, only to be introduced to something called vodka. The next day, they withdrew from all warfare entirely and dedicated themselves to meditation and fruit farming. A cold silence followed. Zorvax exhaled. There's only one way to truly understand the humans. I will go to this after party. Shivak's mandibles clicked nervously. Sir, Do you at least want to draft a will before we engage? That won't be necessary. Zorvax sighed. Just ensure my body is returned to my homeworld, or what's left of it. Earth. Location. The after party. Zorvax stepped onto the surface of the strange planet, his exoskeleton instantly registering the unbalanced mixture of nitrogen and oxygen in the air. But that was the least of his concerns. Before him stood thousands of humans, laughing, singing, dancing. There were neon lights, pulsing bass, strange liquids in transparent containers, smoke, fire. A creature they called a DJ was commanding unseen forces, making rhythmic sounds that somehow compelled the bodies of humans to move in perfect synchronization. A human with a backward cap approached. Yo, new guy, first time on Earth? Zorvax hesitated. Yes, I am Captain Zorvax of the Galactic Unity Fleet. I have come in peace. The human grinned. Sweet, first drink's on me. Zorvax blinked. Is this a trap? Nah, man. The human shoved a small glass into his claws. Welcome to tequila. Somewhere, deep within Zorvax's soul, an ancient instinct screamed at him to run, and yet he didn't. With the entire galaxy watching, he lifted the drink and threw it back. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Zorvax's second heart stopped. His vision blurred. His exoskeleton tingled. The laws of physics bent. The human slapped his shoulder. Bro, you good? Zorvax gasped, clutching his chest. This is stronger than antimatter. How do you consume this regularly? The human laughed. Dude, that was one shot. We're just getting started. The galactic leader of 14 star systems, the strategist of 1,000 battles, the conqueror of worlds, Zorvax, felt true fear for the first time in his life. The night had only begun. Location, Earth, the after party. Zorvax's sensory organs were in chaos. His equilibrium destabilized. His exoskeletal plating vibrated unnaturally. He wasn't sure if it was the tequila, the overwhelming sonic frequencies coming from the DJ, or the fact that humans had somehow evolved to enjoy this madness. A group of them gathered around, clapping their appendages together. Bro, he took it like a champ. The one shouted, Yo, alien dude, you gotta try a Jaeger bomb next. Another chimed in. Zorvax steadied himself. I am uncertain if I will survive another. A new human placed a glass in his clawed hand. This one's different. It's got an energy drink in it, you'll be fine. Zorvax scanned the contents. His neural implants struggled to compute what was inside. Caffeine, taurine, carbonation. He had read reports on these substances before. The last species that encountered them had developed an addiction so severe, they colonized their own moons just to fund further production. But the humans? They drank it for fun. He hesitated. He considered retreat. Then he noticed a group of humans watching, eagerly awaiting his decision. Some were already filming. The entire Galactic Council was likely monitoring the transmission. To refuse now would be an act of cowardice. Zorvax braced himself. For science, he downed the Jaeger bomb. For precisely 3.7 seconds, nothing happened. Then the universe fractured. Colors he had no words for burst into his vision. His neural pathways lit up like collapsing stars. His limbs jittered, not in failure, but in power. His heart rates doubled, then tripled. Time itself seemed to slow. And for the first time in his species' history, Zorvax understood why humans were so feared. Brew, one of the humans said, eyes wide. He just hit the zone. Zorvax turned toward them, his mandibles twitching uncontrollably. I can hear colors. The DJ raised the volume. The bass dropped so hard that it altered local gravity. And that's when Zorvax started dancing. It wasn't intentional. His species had never danced before. It was simply that his body could no longer remain still. The humans erupted into cheers. The crowd parted. A circle formed. He's doing it. The alien is busting moves. Oh my God, somebody record this. The Galactic broadcast was still live. Every High Council, every empire, every militarized fleet across the known universe was watching. And they saw their feared commander, Zorvax the Unyielding, dropping into a perfect moonwalk. The universe had no counterattack. Somewhere across the galaxy, entire warships received the footage. Species who had once considered conquering Earth immediately surrendered. The Maxor, who had barely recovered from vodka, declared permanent neutrality. The Shkathul warlords erased all battle plans against humanity and swore a blood oath never to return. Earth had won, not through war, not through weapons, but through pure, unfiltered, cosmic-level partying. Zorvax, meanwhile, was oblivious to all of this. He was locked in a breakdancing duel with a man named Chad, and for the first time in his life, he was having fun. Zorvax spun on his back, his exoskeletal plating sparking against the dance floor as he completed a flawless windmill. The crowd lost their minds. Dude, he just outspun Chad. Chad, drenched in sweat and visibly shaken, pushed himself up from the ground. No way, man, no way. He turned to his squad. Somebody get the cardboard mat. It's time to go full b-boy mode. The humans gasped in unison. A new layer of the party had been unlocked. Zorvax, still jittering with the power of 1,000 Red Bulls, flicked his mandibles. What is b-boy mode? A human with sunglasses lowered them dramatically. You're about to find out, space bro. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the footage of Zorvax's performance had already spread beyond Earth. The Galactic Federation's war room was in shambles. High-ranking officials of dozens of species stood in stunned silence. Admiral Catherick, a war-hardened veteran of 1,000 interstellar conflicts, rewound the footage for the 7th time. Pause at 412, he commanded. The screen froze. On an image of Zorvax mid-air, executing an impossible breakdance move while radiating pure human energy. The room fell into a hush. One of the analysts finally broke the silence. Sir, I ran the calculations. The sheer force he generated while spinning should have annihilated him. Yet, he appears stronger. Catherick nodded grimly. Just as I feared. A nervous scientist adjusted his glasses. Feared, sir? The Admiral turned to them, eyes heavy with the knowledge of countless battles. We were fools. We thought humanity was dangerous because of their weapons, their resilience, their chaotic tactics. He gestured toward the frozen image of Zorvax defying physics. But this is something worse. Worse? The scientist asked. Catherick inhaled deeply. They don't just fight their enemies, they invite them to their world. They overload their neural functions. They destroy their sense of control. And then, his voice dropped to a whisper. They make them one of them. A stunned silence followed. You mean? Catherick slammed his fist against the console. Zorvax is no longer ours. He has been converted. Not through mind control, not through war, but through, he swallowed hard, through the power of the vibe. A lieutenant rushed in, out of breath. Sir, new intel just came in from our spy on Earth. The humans have... He hesitated, as if unable to comprehend his own words. They have initiated a dance battle tournament. The room erupted into chaos. Papers flew, monitors glitched, a minor diplomat fainted. No, Catherick whispered in horror. They're scaling up. Back on Earth, the finals. Zorvax stood across from Chad in the center of a makeshift dance ring. Neon lights flashed. The music intensified. The humans had placed their best warriors around them. This is it, folks, the final round, the announcer shouted. Will our Earthborn champion Chad reclaim his title? Or has Zorvax, the breakdancing behemoth of Andromeda, become too powerful? Chad wiped sweat from his brow. All right, alien, you're good, real good. Zorvax cracked his knuckles. You have no idea what you have unleashed, human. The DJ's hand hovered over the play button. The moment it dropped, there would be no turning back.